Hi, I'm Kevin Concha, and joining me today is Carl Twigg Jr.
Correct.
Want to make sure I got the junior.
That's all right.
It's October 10th, 2009. We're here at the Westminster
American Legion, yeah.
Class of
39.
Class of 39.
Yes. 70 years ago we graduated.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's incredible, right? And they have very good attendance here.
Oh, that's a good group.
And Mrs. Schaefer does a wonderful job. She's been organizing it for years. And although I was the president of the class, I was kind of lazy at it because she just called and say, "Is this, can do this, can do this, can do this?" I say, my answer was yes. I had a famous answer, yes. I don't remember saying no about anything.
That's the kind of people you like having to work for.
Boy, as I told her, if she'd been in the Army, she'd have been a general. She really would have. She's a wonderful person. She's a good mother, and her husband and I grew up together when we were kids.
Even before high school?
Oh yeah. Oh, we were in the first grade together, and then he went to the Marine Corps. He was a bombardier during the war in the Marine Corps. He was a Marine Corps bomber over in the Pacific. Yeah, but anyhow, you don't care about that.
So if you grew up with her husband, what part of town did you live in?
Well, I lived up near the college, and her husband's father was a professor at the college. So we spent a lot of time running around up there in Western Maryland then. And of course, naturally, we followed the sports and all that kind of baloney. But her husband, he's quite a fella. And of course, he went in the Marine Corps. I went into some other part of the service, and then we didn't see each other for years. So then we ran across each other, and he was a navigator on a bomber. So he said, "Well, let's go to Washington sometime." This was way after the war. I said, "If you navigate, I'll drive."
Okay.
So he navigated, and I did the driving. And we did find the Smithsonian Air Museum. That's what we wanted to go to.
I see.
So much for that. But anyhow, back to the old high school days, that was quite a while ago. And the old high school, of course, was up there on Longwell Avenue. In fact, we were the first class to go in the high school, the new high school, as like a freshman and go clear through and graduate. We were in the first class to do that.
Oh, I see.
And it was quite a class. It was, half commercial and half academic. And I knew so many of these people, especially the ladies, were in the academic part of the class. But I did know many of them. And then when they elected me as the class president, I wasn't elected academically. I had a bunch of politicians
They thought you were the man for the
they
job.
thought, yeah, that's right. They thought I was the man. Oh, gee, it was just awful because there were some students that were straight A students. I wasn't a straight A student.
Oh, I kind of sense a little bit of might be something wild going on.
Yeah,
back then.
I'll say, and in those days in high school, it was a small school, see, and it was 11th grade school, and if you walked down the halls, there would be a couple professors there, or vice principal, or something like that. If you went in your class, he knew exactly where you were supposed to be, so you couldn't get away with much in that school. It was pretty tough, and it was well managed. They had a good principal. It was very well managed. And when you see the schools today, it's, in my opinion, there's no comparison. But that's just that's just my idea.
So when you weren't in school with the straight A students, what'd you do to cut loose? What'd you do?
Well, see, you got to remember, in those days and in a small town, you had to be careful because if you cut loose and did something you shouldn't have been doing, the word got around.
Oh.
And the thing you do if you wanted to not do so good, it was do it out of town.
Go to the next
Yeah,
town over.
yeah, and of course in our school days, see, they weren't drug problems and all that kind of baloney. Really wasn't. They're pretty straight-laced things. In fact, as a perfect example, that would be when we used to go to Washington and tour the White House and all that kind of stuff. When we went there, the boys went in one bus and the girls went in the other bus.
Oh.
You see?
No hanky-panky.
Yeah. In fact, we were one of the very few classes that have been in the Lincoln bedroom in the White House. See, after that, years ago after that, the trips to Washington were kind of tough. And the classes were a lot larger. There's more people in the Westminster High School band than there was in their graduating class. So that's about it. But it was a fine class. It was a fine class. and everybody behaved themselves. There was very little shenanigans going on in the high school, but it was pretty strict. We respected the teachers and the administration, and so that's just the way it was. That's the way it was.
Maybe it's that kind of atmosphere that is why they call your generation the greatest generation.
Oh yes, it's no doubt. Our generation was very significant, and as I look around, of course, I had some friends that didn't make it during the war, and I'd say 90% of our class was in the war, and also they felt the obligation, like I felt the obligation, and as many others felt the obligation. But that's the way it was. But really, there's some people missing here, especially young men that I knew, that made it so that we did be able to have nice things like this. You know, they paid the price. In other words, they shed their blood, whereas some of us didn't. So I'm most thankful for that.
What do you thank for that? How do you think it is that you made it?
The Lord was watching over us. I tell people the Lord doesn't know me anything, see. He doesn't know me a thing. So that's the way it is. Oh, God. And then I don't know a lot about religion, but the Bible says, boast not of the morrow, for thou knowest not what tomorrow may bring. It's a fact.
Yeah, words of wisdom.
Yeah. But I think the men of our generation, which say sometimes they refer to as the greatest generation, I think they're very conscious that of what America offered in those days and offers today. We hope. So that's the way it is. But once again, as I look at this class, Mrs. Schaefer, she had been organizing this for years. She really has. She really has. And she would check with me, and of course she lived in Westminster, as I live in Westminster, and she would check with me, and my favorite answer was yes. When she say anything, she says, "Is that okay?" I said, "Yes." "Is that okay?" "Yes." "Yes." Oh, I was just full of yes as far as she's concerned. I mean, she made me lazy. See, but I thank her for that. But once again, as I said, I knew her husband. He was a good guy, and I followed her very, very well. She deserves a lot of credit. I give her the credit for this nice gathering she has here this evening. I mean, 70 years ago, that's pretty wild.
That's dedication.
That's pretty good.
Keep it going.
70 years. And for every year, she had a little get-together. After 70, after this year, well, I don't know. But anyhow, that's the way it is.
We'll be sure and thank her.
Oh, absolutely.
For getting it together today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Well, that's it.
Yeah. Mr. Twigg, thank you so much.
That's okay.
It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Appreciate it. Okay.